platforms going. So what I was saying was I do a lot of coaching, teaching, free Friday trainings, lives. The cornerstone to understanding how we can get what we want out of life stems from the 5 daily practices. And note that they're daily practices. It doesn't mean that you spend all day practicing them, but you have to be able to lower the bar and give it a minimum amount of time. The premise in which I created the 5 daily practices are based upon the understanding of time and the infinite and relativity of time, as well as the constructs and limitations of time. The 5 daily practices are the cornerstone of all decision making and beliefs, prioritization, and the application of your soul with intuition, intellect, and inspiration. And it starts with the 5 daily practices. What meaning are we giving today? And in order to know the meaning that you're giving today, you have to know only the limitation of the past. See, the past is infinite in time. We can all go back 100 million years in what is here today, about 1 second or less. But it's infinite except for one thing. We limit our past by the meaning that we give the garbage, as you guys were talking about earlier, the meaning that we give these defined moments, inflection points. A lot of people notate defined moments and inflection points as pain, setback, failures, mistakes. One of the most defining moments of my life was losing over $100 million and going bankrupt. And the meaning that I gave it when it happened is completely different than the meaning I give it today because of my understanding of time and my usage of the 5 daily practices. So when I had to go not only tell my mom that I was bankrupt, knowing that the only reason I wanted to be rich was to buy my mom a house and a car, knowing that I just wanted to make her proud of me and create ease in what was a very dis-easy life for her. I wanted to buy that house. And here I was years later telling her that I lost everything, including her house, and that she would have to move. The meaning I gave that 16 years ago is completely different now because of the 5 daily practices. The meaning that I gave all of the defining moments, the inflection points, the good, the bad, the evil, the ugly of those setbacks, failures, mistakes, of the lessons, of the light and the love is so important into the 5 daily practices because we want to give the meaning of our defined moments and inflection points of our past in a trajectory of what we think we want in the future. And in order to execute on what we think, note I say what we think we want in the future, because we have the luxury of changing our minds and our meanings to accommodate what we think we want in the future each day, separate from each other, meaning that there is no harm, no foul, and only strength, lessons, and love in changing your mind, because changing your mind tells you that you're learning, that you're finding the light, the love, the lessons, that you're giving new meaning that has a better trajectory of what you think you want. And so I want everyone, before we talk about these 5 daily practices, to remember, recollect, and remind yourself, what meaning do I want to give my past? What do I want to nurse in that meaning? What do I want to curse in that meaning? And as Tim Story taught me, what do I want to rehearse towards the trajectory of what I see or think I want in the future? Once I have a handle on the meaning of those defined moments and inflection points, once I have control of my mindset of these past, I now can set forth understanding today of what I'm going to do, say, think, believe, and feel in a trajectory of what I think I want in the future. That's the best way to get what I think I want in the future, is to utilize the meanings, the light, the love, and the lessons of the past and effectuate or execute on them today with our actions, our words, our thoughts, our beliefs, and our feelings. And in order to do so, we need to have coherence. We need to remember to do them, and to do them in an efficient, effective, and statistically successful way, to be productive, to provide value, to be accessible, to be connected to many and all, and to access or receive what we want and to be gracious, to continually search and look for the meaning, the light, the love, and the lessons in everything that you're going to do, say, think, believe, and feel for today, in a trajectory of what you think you want in the future, with that ability to change your mind tomorrow to the better, a better place, a better situation, or a better circumstance for you, not for others, not what's missing, not what you don't want, not creating resistance, but simply for you. And the first step in effectuating the time of now, the time of today, is to know that although I'm the limitation with the meanings that I give my past, the only limitation of the present is the time itself. We are limited by 24 hours of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful for the activities that are aligned with, synergistic, supplementary, in a trajectory of what we think we want tomorrow. So knowing that time is the only limitation of today, meaning is the limitation of yesterday and the past, to get to the future that I want to utilize time the best that I can. And in order to utilize the time of today in the trajectory of what we think we want, the first step of the 5 daily practices is to know what you want. People don't know what they want. They don't know what they want in their day. They don't know what activity. They don't know what they want in a spouse. They don't know what they want in a business. They don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they want to sleep. They don't know what. The first step to take that nothingness of not knowing what is to think about what. What do I want to do, say, think, feel, and believe in a trajectory of what I think I want in the future? What do I want personally, experientially, giving wise and receiving wise, balancing those, not equally, but weighted towards what I want according to today. Today is a Saturday and I have my son's baseball game. I want different things today than I want on a Friday at 7 a.m. Pacific time when I've been doing trainings for the last 22 years. I want different things, and it's okay because it's aligned with the trajectory of what I think I want in the future, in whatever time frame the future have, which is infinite as well, which will complete and finish in the future by knowing what we want today. One other mathematical advantage of knowing what you want is most people live like tubes, food in, food out. Paycheck in, paycheck out. They live in nothingness. No thing to no thing is how they are delivered on this earth and how they leave. No thing to no thing. But in between, you need to know what you want to create possibilities. Because the minute you know what you want, it's a possibility. It's a mathematical advantage over nothingness. And once you know what you want, the second daily practice to increase your statistical success, your efficiency, effectiveness of today in a trajectory of what you think you want in the future is to know who. Because the easiest way to get what you want is to help somebody get what they want. So who can we help with what we want? Who can we help get what they want with what we want? Fastest way is to know who, and also who can help us. Fastest way to get to where we want to be is not only to help other people get to where they want to be, but also to find someone that's already there and ask them for directions. If you know your who, that possibility of what takes a mathematical leap called a probability. Once again, making us more statistically successful, more efficient, and more effective in the trajectory, the acceleration, the growth towards what we think we want in the future, changing the meanings as we learn from the light, the love, the lessons, the pain, the setbacks, the failures of what we want, not what other people want, what's missing or what we don't have. All of that fear of other people's opinion, all that fear of missing out is gone because you know what you want today to utilize in activities for that 24 hours, and you know who you can help with what you want and who can help you. The next step to take another mathematical leap is the third daily practice. Know your how. Now that how is the reconciliation of the what and the who with time. We utilize, in order to understand and facilitate who we can help and who can help us, we facilitate and reconcile the how with the 24 hours that we have by being a student of time. Now, I call it a student of the calendar because the calendar for me is a repository of my time. and activity. And it reconciles times and activities with activity that I have planned, I don't have planned, my sleep, activity I get paid for, activity I don't get paid for, with three distinct lenses of reconciliation. When we reconcile time with activity in today to know our how, we need to use a lens of productivity, of how are we going to be productive with our time, provide value with our time. The second distinct lens is the lens of accessibility. How are we going to utilize our accessibility to others and our ability to access what we want and who we can help and who can help us? The lens of accessibility also reconciles time, just like the lens of productivity. And then finally, the third distinct lens of the third daily practice of knowing our how is the lens of gratitude. The lens of gratitude takes the meaning that we've given the past, reconciles it to find the light, the love, and the lessons in the productive, accessible activities that we are planning and we don't have planned, and our sleep. Notice I keep talking about our sleep because if you understand the limitation of time and the reconciliation of time into productivity and accessibility, you have to realize that 1/3 of your life approximately is spent sleeping. That's why my number one oldest mentor is a sleep coach, so that I can not only recover in a better way each and every day, but also access the information to be productive, accessible, and gracious the next day to create a higher frequency or vibration, a higher baseline for each day. Because why? Most people live in nothingness, no thing to no thing. They live like tubes, food in, food out, paycheck in, paycheck out. They live the myth of Sisyphus. They roll a boulder to the top of the hill 7 days a week just to have it roll back down to the same baseline. Not me. I utilize sleep to plateau each day and grow from that plateau to create a new baseline by recovering every day and accessing through recovering that information that is bigger and greater than I am. And understanding that my sleep is essential as a non-negotiable of health, just like exercise, nutrition, stretching, balance, or whatever else you determine to be best and most aligned with your genetic and energetic position of health. Because if you're healthy, you get as many wishes as you want, as many hopes, dreams, as many things to do, say, think, believe, and feel. Don't let your health be the limitation of today. Just allow time. And if you know your how, if you utilize the lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude, if you are productive, accessible, and gracious, you will be efficient, effective, and statistically successful in all your activities, planned, unplanned, paid for, unpaid for, and sleep. This is how we know our how. If you know your what, it's a possibility that is expanded and accelerated from no thing to no thing. If you know your who, it's a probability. But when you determine your how by effectively utilizing the three distinctive lenses, your how now makes your probability your perspective. Those three lenses are the kaleidoscope of your perspective, allowing you to see things the way that you should, because you give meaning to everything that you see, even the setbacks, failures, and mistakes. The pain now becomes promotion, not punishment. The pain becomes an indicator that you have a better place to be, a better position, better situation, or a better person to be. You should stop worrying about what is coming and start focusing in your attention and intention by studying your calendar of what you're becoming. Are you becoming something that's in the trajectory of what you think you want by giving the meaning of the past to today in order to effectuate tomorrow of what you think you want? Keeping an open mind and open heart and open hands. Living in intellect, intuition, and inspiration, the three soul capabilities that we have. I'll repeat that. You have three capabilities of the soul: intellect, intuition, and inspiration. And those can be developed the same as anything else by practice. What kind of practice? Daily practice. Do it every day. I promise you. You'll expand, grow, and accelerate towards what you think you want in the future. Know your what, it's a possibility. Know your who, it's a probability. Know your how, it's your perspective. Now, the fourth daily practice is also the antidote to no thing to no thing. It's the antidote to what people characterize no thing to no thing as. It's called procrastination. See, when we don't know our what or who or how, we procrastinate and we live like a tube. But if you learn to know your now, what am I going to do now, say now, think now, believe now, and feel now? And if I'm not doing, saying, thinking, believing, and feeling aligned with, synergistic with the trajectory of what I think I want, then we are going to spend minutes and moments in that ego-based consciousness in order to make a quick adjustment so that our trajectory is in the correct target or direction. Know your how. And 100% of the things you do will be done now. And 100% of the things you do now get done. So now you're more efficient, effective, and statistically successful. The best way to be efficient, effective, and statistically successful is to know your now and do it. But you can't know your now. You can't prioritize. You can't utilize the antidote to procrastination unless you know what you want, who can help you, and how to get it done with those lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. Know your now. Learn to prioritize what's important to you, not what's important to other people, not what's missing, not what you don't have. You are not punished. You are promoted. When you prioritize, you are promoted. When you're prioritized, it's the antidote to procrastination. When you prioritize, it's the antidote to feeling overwhelmed. So many people that I coach come to me today, especially with the pandemic. Oh my gosh, I feel overwhelmed. And I said, okay, I can help you. Say thank you. They're like, what? I said, first, say thank you for living in abundance. Say thank you for finding the light, the love, and the lessons that you have too much on your plate. You have too many options. You have too many opportunities. You have too many touches of favor. You don't even know what to do. But instead, you're wasting all of them because you don't know your what, your who, and your how. You're living from no thing to no thing. So when you have something or too many things called abundance, when you start tapping into the infinite source of more than enough of everything for everyone, you get overwhelmed. Instead, know your now. Prioritize your now by knowing your what, your who, and your how. If you prioritize and you know what's important to you, you will always be efficient, effective, and statistically successful. You will always be accelerating in a trajectory of what you think you want. You will always find the light, the love, and the lessons in the prioritization of what you want, not what other people want, what's missing, or what you don't have. Prioritization is the antidote. It is also the way to be a productive, accessible, and gracious person and to get more shit done. If you know your what, you go from no thing to possibility. If you know your who, you go from possibility to probability. You know your how, you go from probability to perspective. You know your now and act upon it with what you do, say, think, believe, and feel. Whoo! You know your now, you now have your reality. And then once we live in our reality, we want to maximize that reality with the fifth daily practice. We know the what is 1, the who is 2, the how is 3, and the now is 4. The fifth daily practice is to apply your why, the application of why, not the search of what you already have. The why is inclusive in the soul capabilities of intellect, intuition, and inspiration. The capabilities that will allow you to apply your why instead of searching for something you already have. You see, the basis of applying your why is to know you are your why, and you're connected to and through your why. That there is nothing separating you other than the interference that you create for yourself, utilizing your fear and what's interfering with you and your why. See, I believe and I have faith that there's something bigger than me. Something bigger than me that loves me more than my mom, except for it's omniscient, unlike my mom. It's omnipresent, unlike my mom. It is all-knowing and all-powerful, unlike my mom. But I'm going to analogize a story of application of why by utilizing a story with my mom. When I was 3 years old, my mom never yelled at anyone. She worked 2 jobs, packed my dinner in a paper bag, second grade teacher, Sunday school teacher, filled up turnstiles at the convenience stores with greeting cards just so we could eat, packing our dinner in a paper bag, 6 kids, single mom, never yelled, never hit. In fact, my wife always liked to tell people my biggest problem is my mom never hit me, but she never did until I was 3, when I went to go reach up and touch a hot stove, and she smacked the back of my hand like I'll never forget, and she screamed at me, no. I immediately cried, just like I see people 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and even 90 years old. They get slapped on the hand by life and they cry. Why me? What did I do? Why are you punishing me, mommy? My mom immediately hugged me and said, I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting you. I'm promoting you, but you don't know what you don't know. You don't know the stove's going to burn you. The same way that you don't know that job's going to burn you, that application's going to burn you, that car's going to burn you, that house is going to burn you, that relationship's going to burn you. You don't know. But the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing does, that loves you more than my mom loved me and more than your mom loves you. And it knows. And so it says, here's a little bit of pain. I'm going to slap you. I'm going to let you know that that's going to burn you. And guess what? The faster you learn, the less you get burned. If I kept on touching the stove, I kept getting burned and burned. The pain would eventually go away when I learned the lesson. That's why we search through the 5 daily practices for the light, the love, and the lessons through the what, the who, the how, and the now. And so when pain keeps on being present, mistakes, failures, and setbacks, I start thinking to myself, oh, I'm being promoted and protected. I just got to find the lesson, because the biggest misuse of time is between that pain and the lesson to learn. That's the biggest misuse of time, the problem and solution, the cause and effect. And the more that we put our emotions on that pain, the more we put our emotions on an outcome, the longer it's going to take to learn the lesson. And the biggest waste of time is between the pain and the lesson. It's the biggest waste of time. And it's also the longest of time. So I want everyone to take the 5th daily practice of applying our why, and utilize the 4 steps to apply our why. That mindset of understanding there's something bigger than us that loves us more than your mom. No matter what your religion, philosophy, spirituality tells you, this is the basis and foundation of it all. Knowing that I'm being protected and promoted, not punished. And in order to do so and act upon and apply our why, there's no more in search of why. No more trying to get more happy, more healthy, more wealthy, more worthy. Instead, let's identify what we're doing to interfere with it. Because I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am worthy, I am connected to and through an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source. I have more power in my pinky than they utilize to light up all of Manhattan. How could I not? But what am I doing to interfere with it? In order to figure out what we're doing to interfere with our why, we need to practice identifying fear. See, I spell interference with F-E-A-R, not just F-E-R. So if I can learn to identify fear, the needs of the ego, the interference, the ego-based consciousness, to be separate, not connected to and through, but separate from, inferior of, or superior of, or need to be guilty, angry, anxious, frustrated, a need to be resentful or offended. You know how much time, emotion, and value is spent in interference? Most people spend the majority of their life in interference. And I want you to practice identifying that. I want you to spend minutes and moments in that. And I want you, when you identify the ego-based consciousness, when you identify fear, when you identify interference, I don't want you to resist it. I don't want you to fight it. I don't want you to go around it, under it, through it. I don't want you to lie to it, cheat it, manipulate it, steal from it. I don't want you to deny it. I want you to stop and utilize it. Once you identify and practice identifying fear in the step of applying your why, I want you to identify it and then utilize it, because fear can be utilized to accelerate the trajectory towards what you think you want tomorrow. Number one, when we realize that we can utilize fear to get up, get back up, get started, and get back started, that's the direction I will take it. If I need to get up, get started, get back started. But I have to realize that that fear is a soul sucker. It's like the fuel of a rocket ship. We know we use 90% of the fuel in a rocket ship just to get off the ground, to get started, to get back up, to get going. But it's okay if we're identifying the fear and utilizing it in that purpose or trajectory, great. But we have to learn to utilize it in the second way as well. We can utilize it to get up, get started, or get back started, or we can utilize it to get out of our own way. When we identify one of those ego-based consciousness and need to be separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, worrying, complaining, any of these interferences that create dis-ease from our ease, our natural status of flow of the omniscient, all powerful, all knowing, that great source. When we can identify what's interfering and either utilize it to get up or to get out of our own way, we now breathe and get back to ease. And once we're at ease, now we remind, remember, and recollect. We remind and remember and recollect what we want from this nothingness to a possibility, who we can help, who can help us, probability, how best to get it done with those lenses of productivity, accessibility, and gratitude. And then we prioritize by what's important to us. And we do, say, think, believe, and feel our now. And once we know our now, that reality puts forth itself, and we experience pain, setbacks, failures, and mistakes. We experience fear. We then identify the fear. We stop, figure out how to utilize it. We drop down to center or ease, and then we roll back into what, who, how, now. And we apply our why. We live in inspiration, intellect, and intuition the majority of the day. We plateau and grow in a trajectory and acceleration to what we think we want, because the future is unlimited. The only limitation of the future, the limitation of the past, the meaning you give it. The limitation of today, time. The limitation of the future, you. Utilize the 5 daily practices of what, who, how, now, and why, and you will accelerate your trajectory of what you think you want. But more importantly, you'll make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. You will live your life with passion, purpose, and profitability. I promise you. If anybody wants those 5 daily practices, I'll be happy to send them out to you. They're free. If it's free, it's we. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. That's my first name, David, at my first initial D, last name Meltzer, like seltzer with an M.com. Jakey Bakey, that's the training for the day. Let's take some Q&A.
Boom. Thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate that. As Dave mentioned, if you want those 5 daily practices in a guide, just email david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. Maybe he'll send you a Meltzer seltzer as well. Thank you so much, Dave. That is the training. As mentioned, right now we've got some time for some questions. So I know a lot of people are already lined up to ask their questions. If you want to ask one, just back channel me or raise your hand here on Clubhouse. They will be taking questions on Clubhouse, on TikTok, and Instagram, and of course on the Zoom training. Let's also take a quick minute, as we got about 29 minutes for questions. Let's use the share button at the bottom, and let's share with your friends, your family, the whole community here on Clubhouse. Of course, this is the best room on Clubhouse at Breakfast with Champions. So let's continue to share it. And Dave, do you want to take a question on Zoom, or do you want to start here on Clubhouse?
If you're ready on Clubhouse, if not, I'll go to the Zoom training.
Perfect. Let's bring up Nina here on Clubhouse. Nina, if you can unmute yourself and feel free to ask David your question. Welcome.
Thank you, Jake. Hi, David. Thank you very much for your time. My question is continuing from last week's answer that you provided. When someone insults us, if we don't have an ego, then we won't get offended, because we won't ask the question, why me? Why did they do that? Right?
I love that. Well, first of all, people ask me if I could invent one thing, what would I invent? And it would be an egoectomy. And then we wouldn't have to utilize our ego to get us up, and we definitely wouldn't have to utilize our ego to get us out of the own way. First of all, when people attack us, just remember, hurt people hurt people. Hurt people make judgments, conditions, and attacks upon others. Hurt people hurt people. And so we want to take the perspective of not only forgiveness, that person is hurting, that they're not happy. Happy people don't attack. Hurt people attack. Hurt people hurt people. Happy people don't hurt people. It's very obvious. And so what we want to do is use forgiveness of ourselves and others, but there's a realm of accountability in this idea that needs to be brought out. And we can ask ourselves, how am I accountable for this attack? How am I accountable for this judgment? How am I accountable for this label? How am I accountable for these actions that are not coinciding with what I believe to be best for me? And so I've created a definition of accountability that goes far beyond most people's response ability. Covey does a great job of defining a responsibility, that it's actually a capability, an ability to respond in a coordinated, collaborative way in order to effectuate not interfering with ourselves or our trajectory of what we think we want. And so accountability is a little different than our ability to respond in the appropriate manner to an attack, right? This isn't about responsibility. It's about forgiveness and accountability. And accountability says two things. One, what am I doing to participate in this attack, in this judgment, in this label, in this condition? What am I doing to participate in this perception that other people have, or I have of the other people's perception? What am I doing to participate in it? And when we start empowering ourselves through forgiveness and the way that we do, say, think, feel, and believe from other people's opinions, attacks, judgments, conditions, hurt people, hurting people, when we realize what our participation in it is, we then can heal it faster than ever. We can spend minutes and moments in a trajectory that we don't want. We can spend minutes and moments in hurt. We could spend minutes and moments wanting to attack back or respond incapability instead of responsibility or responsible reaction. Our responsibility is contingent upon our accountability, the ability to see what our participation is in those attacks, judgments, conditions that people put upon us. And when we utilize forgiveness to heal that participation of ours, forgiving ourselves and forgiving others, knowing that we should be praying for this person's happiness, because happy people don't attack people, hurt people. All of a sudden, we put ourselves back into ease. We start applying our why. We start remembering, recollecting the what we want, who we can help us, how to get it done, and prioritizing our lives and our actions, our thoughts and words and beliefs and feelings in the right trajectory. And lo and behold, we get to where we think we want to be or better in a faster, more accurate, and accelerated way. This is what you do in order to not only be response able, but to be account able. So see what you're doing to participate in those perceptions, utilize forgiveness, and I promise you, you will heal and live at ease in a much more quick and efficient way that will allow you to get more of what you want. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, so once we get into that ease, do we then go ahead and protect our boundaries by unfollowing them? Or do we just carry on as normal?
No, you don't need to unfollow them. What you need to do is ask them what you can do to help them. So, there's always going to be 10% of people that are hurt, and hurt people. And a lot of those people don't have anything better to do than try to hurt people. So what I love to do is say, hey, I can appreciate where you are, right? That's my participation in your hurt, in my participation in the perception that you have. Why don't you reach out to me? I will tell you that of all the attacks, judgments, conditions that are out there that I see from the thousands and thousands of people that contact me, 0 have ever reached out after they've attacked me. I give my cell phone to everyone. 0, not even one. When I pray for their happiness, tell them I appreciate their position. I'd love to participate in a different way in their hurt, their pain, their judgment, condition, and label that they put upon me. Will you please give me a call on my cell? It's well worth my time to learn why you feel this way about me, or why you say these things about me, or you're doing these things to harm me, or you believe these things about me, or you feel these things about me. I want to know why, and I want to know how I can put you at ease. But yet, I don't unfollow anyone. I disallow them. I give them that number, and they stop, because the truth vibrates the fastest. They may unfollow me, because they can't take any energy from me. I don't allow them to steal my joy. I don't give them any energy back other than love, kindness, and truth and forgiveness. That one particle of that overcomes a million particles of hurt. One particle of light overcomes a million particles of darkness. Go ahead, light a candle in a dark room. You'll see mathematically what I'm talking about. That's what forgiveness and kindness and happiness does to the hurters out there, the haters out there, the attackers out there, the complainers, whiners out there, the worriers out there that have to hurt others because they're so hurt. So I give them heal, and usually they're either healed or they fall away or they fire themselves from my life. I don't need to create any negative energy. Does that sound? Try that out, Nina. And I think
I will do. That's great. Thank you so much.
You got it. Great questions. I love it. All right, Bakester. Why don't we reset the room real quick, and I'll take we have almost 70,000 people registered for training on the webinar, by the way. I don't know how many on Clubhouse, IG, or Instagram, but the 23 years or so is starting to pay off. I'll tell you that.
70,000 people. That is a lot of people. That's more people that fit in SoFi Stadium, I think. Dave.
Is it? All right. Well, that's what happens when you do it for free. I promise you, if they give those tickets away for free, they get 100,000 in there.
There we go. Exactly. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'll reset the room here. By the way, if anyone would like David Meltzer's 5 daily practices, you can either email him, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com, or if you're here on Clubhouse, it's actually the pinned link, so you can check it out. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining. We're on the Q&A segment of the Breakfast with Champions. It is 7:39 a.m. Pacific time. There's about 21 minutes left. If you'd like to ask David a question, just raise your hand or back channel me. Let's also take a second here to share the room. So at the bottom, there's an arrow. You can share it via Twitter, via Facebook, via your text messages. And then, of course, you can share it here on Clubhouse. So let's take a second. We're creating an incredible room, an incredible community. Let's share the room on Clubhouse here. So, Dave, I'll pass it back over to you. And when you're back, we'll bring up Daryl Stinson when you're ready.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And I look forward to speaking with Daryl. There's a question online I really like here as I'm inviting more people in here. And it says, which of the 5 daily practices have had the biggest impact on your daily happiness? And I would have said before the what, but because I have coherence of knowing my what every day, today the biggest impact is applying my why. I'm still amazed at the deficiencies that I have, as I was amazed of the deficiencies I had in understanding and knowing my what, that I still have so much ego-based consciousness. I still have the need to be offended. I still get angry, frustrated, guilty, resentful. I still feel separate. I still feel inferior. I still feel superior. I still complain. I still worry. But the differences and the impact lies within the context of time, that I only spend minutes and moments there now. That I practice identifying those things, utilizing them in the right direction, stopping, dropping, and rolling back into my trajectory. So applying my why today has the most impact. It allows me to build the muscles of intellect, intuition, and inspiration. It allows me to clear the interference between me and my faith, clear the interference between me and the omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that I'm connected to and through. It allows me to remember, remind, and recollect I am happy, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am worthy, and figure out what I'm doing to interfere with what I am, just as you could be on this methodology as well. 5 daily practices, cornerstone to everything I believe. The most impactful part for me today is applying my why, but it used to be, as probably will be for anyone starting this, just getting into the coherence, remembering to know my what, and to actually doing, saying, thinking, believing, and feeling it aligned with what I think I want in the future, understanding the limitations of the past, the meaning, the limitations of the present time, and the limitations of the future me. And that's why, please email me. If it's free, it's David@dmeltzer.com. I would love for everyone to practice these 5 daily practices, impacting everyone, not just you, but all those around you as well. All right, Jake, let's bring up Daryl.
Let's bring up Daryl. Daryl, welcome to the Clubhouse. If you can unmute yourself and ask David your question. Welcome, Daryl.
Hey, what's up, David, and everybody, all my friends in the room. David, my question is, it's on my heart to do more international speaking. What are your best practices in terms of getting into in-person and international engagements? And on a bigger level, like, how do you handle allowing life to happen for you and through you instead of like the hustle way of like, I'm going to hit up everyone I know to make things happen?
Yeah. So look, I use an open-ended and open-minded question guide. And so number one, regardless of whether someone's domestic or international, I want to surround myself with open-minded, open-hearted, and open-handed people. We'll put it into the context of the 5 daily practices because Daryl knows what he wants personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise, falls into that value system of I want to do more speaking internationally. I want to have a more global impact with my message, my stories, my lessons. And so then you've got a little limiting on, well, instead of hitting up my friends, families, associates, etc. No, 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 no. You're not hitting anyone up. See, what we want to do is build on a community of open-minded people. See, everybody has an open mind. Not everybody has an open mind at the same time. In fact, I always say if you can find someone who has a closed mind the majority of the time, and you find them when they have an open mind, they're a more valuable relationship than someone that has an open mind all the time or almost all the time, because those people usually have so many different people that they're helping. Usually, if you can be one of the limited people in someone's lives that they help, good for you. But more importantly, find an open mind, regardless of the amount of time they spend having an open mind. Find an open mind and ask them open-ended questions. Hey, what are you doing today for corporate speakers? What are you doing today for inspirational speakers? What are you doing today for educational speakers? What are you doing today, in the personal development space? What are you doing today in the leadership space? What do you like about that? What don't you like about that? Do you know anybody? I mean, would it help you if I did this? Would it help you if I did that? Then you can ask, do you know anyone that can help me? I'm looking for more leadership stages, educational stages, international stages, whatever it is. Statistically, in person, on the phone, via email, social media, traditional media, if you utilize a qualifier for open minds and an open-minded template in order to effectuate statistical success aligned with what you think you want in the future, aligned with what you need today, you will hit up more people. But you'll hit up more people with an open mind. You won't feel the resistance. You won't feel what you feel today because you will ask them, do you know anyone that can help me? You will gain knowledge and value by being of service or value to that person by asking them, would it help you if I did this? Would it help you if I did this? Do you know anyone that can help me? The two powerful transition statements that exist today. This open-minded, open-ended question template allows you to maximize the opportunities, but more importantly, build a community of people who want to help one another and people that know people who want to help one another. We never had the capability or the accessibility to build this type of community. There's 7.6 billion people out there. Somebody, about 10% of them, are on your frequency. If you know your frequency, if you know your essence, if you are true to yourself, to thine own self be true, you now can just work through by finding open minds, open hearts, and open hands, and utilizing your essence, your desire, your why, in order to aggregate sponsors and power sponsors, because you have accessibility now. If all you had were the 100 students in your elementary school or the 1,500 students in your high school or the 30,000 people in your college or the 300,000 people in your town, it made it very difficult. You would have resistance in this idea that I'm hitting up everybody. Expand to the open minds, expand to the open hearts and open hands by utilizing the open-ended question template to determine if someone has an open mind. And if they do, ask them what they're doing today, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and would it help you if I did this? And then, of course, aggregating that community by saying, do you know anyone that can help me? And if you do that in person, on the phone, via email, traditional, social media, every single day, it's incredible what will happen. Take podcasting, for example, just real quick, because a lot of people want to know how to build a podcast and they don't understand. If you can every day ask, hey, download my podcast, right? I have the playbook. We have over 1,200 episodes with the biggest billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, and entertainers. And if every day I ask in person, one person, hey, man, can you download my podcast? Can you rate and review it? Every day on the email, one person, just one person a day. Hey, man, can you download my podcast? Can you rate and review it? Every day on my phone. Hey, can you download and rate and review the playbook? And then in traditional media, one. Then in social media, one. If I do that every day, that's 5 people a day. That's 5 people a day. That's 140 people a month. And that's approximately what 1,680 people in a year. If 10% of those people that I asked download the playbook, rate and review it, I would have 168 subscribers who have rated and reviewed it. And that puts me in the top 1% of all podcasts in the world. With one ask a day. So you can imagine if you make it your coherent habit in the habit machine and utilize the 5 daily practices and put it as a priority of something important and continue to modify and amplify that ask as much as possible, how you get to be one of the 0.1% or 0.01% of the podcasts in the world. Simply by asking with no resistance, by finding the open minds, open hearts, and open hands, asking so many people how you can be of service or value to them, and then asking them, do you know anyone that can help me? This is the way to do it, Daryl. Practice asking, practice, as you say, hitting people up. Hit up more people is my answer, but hit up the right people with open minds, open hearts, and open hands. And you will find a community of people who want to help you and know people who want to help you. All right. Thank you very much for an essential question. I certainly appreciate it.
Super fire. Thank you. You answered the question and some. Love you, brother.
Love you, man. Thank you for joining us. Everyone, thanks for joining. Email me if you want those open-ended questions, david@dmeltzer.com. Jake, let's take another question online and then finish up with someone. We got about 10 minutes. Does that sound good?
That sounds great. When you're ready and back, Raymond Ray will be up on Clubhouse.
Nice. Perfect. You want to reset the room real quick?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. This is the Breakfast with Champions. Welcome, everybody. It is 7 a.m. Pacific time. 10:50 a.m. Eastern time. This is David Meltzer's Power Hour. There's 10 minutes or so left. This is the question and answer portion. So if you have a question you'd like to ask, feel free to raise your hand and we will aim to bring you up. If not, just email David and he will answer your question, david@dmeltzer.com, david@dmeltzer.com. Let's also take a quick second here to share the room. So at the bottom, there's an arrow. Let's share the room, share with your friends, your family, and the whole community. Welcome, everybody. Dave, I'll pass it back over to you. And when you're back, we'll bring up Raymond Ray.
Yeah, for those who weren't here, we did a training on the 5 daily practices that I aforementioned. So make sure you reach out to me as well if you want those daily practices. It is the cornerstone to put yourself on a trajectory of what you think you want in the future. Thank you so much. Let me take a quick question online, and then we will finish up. As always, here we go. Oops, I thought I did that. Let me try that again. What does success look like for you now that you've reached such a high level of it? There are no levels of success. There is a pursuit of my potential. The definition of success is, can I enjoy more? The consistent every day, persistent without quit, pursuit of my potential. Within the context of that is one, enjoyment of, right? Being able to enjoy the consistent every day. Can I be more consistent, persistent without quit? Can I sustain a level of persistence in the pursuit, that trajectory of my potential, what I want or think that I want, not what other people think, no fear of missing out, no fear of other people's opinion, not what's missing, what I don't have, no worry or complaining, but simply enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. And for me, there is no level of that. There's no high or low level, because if you create that for yourself, you're at the highest level every day. Determined upon the pragmatic, quantified tool of time, how often am I out of the activity or action that's in the trajectory, the words that are in the trajectory, the thoughts that are in the trajectory, the beliefs that are in the trajectory, and the feelings that are in the trajectory, utilizing my soul capability of intellect, intuition, and inspiration, and seeing how many minutes, hours, days, weeks, or months am I spending in interfering with it or outside of that trajectory. Success is the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. And we utilize the quantified value of time to determine how often we're in that pursuit and how often we're interfering with it. Utilize that definition of success or your own to understand the acceleration of your success, not the level of it. If you're happy, you've reached. When you're happy, I should say, whether it's minutes and moments that you're happy every day, that you're at ease every day, or it's the exact polar opposite, that you only spend minutes and moments in dis-ease. The more time you spend at ease, the more successful you are. It's an acceleration, it's a speed. It is quantifiable by time, not by height. It is not the altitude, it's that aptitude, that speed, that acceleration that determines your success and can quantifiably seen. All right, our last guest coming up. We got about 5 minutes, my man. Who is up next?
We've got Raymond Ray. Raymond, welcome to the club. Please unmute yourself and ask your question. Welcome, Raymond.
Absolutely. Hey, David, and hey, Jake. I just wanted to say, David, I'm the person who came up. One of the many came up to you at a SO2. And David, I just wanted to say, as I told Jake, it was a pleasure to meet you. Someone amazing like you. You are so warm and opening and friendly, and like somebody's the one person in your world, even though you have hundreds around you, as you are here, David, and as you are in person. So that's all I wanted to say. And I'm the person who said, "Where's Jakey Bakey?" And you're like, "He didn't come. The two girls came. Your two other colleagues." So that's all I wanted to say. Maybe one more. David, thank you.
I love that. Well, being present is my present. And I will tell you, that's one of the things that I learned by being a sports agent, that there was, some of the athletes, like Tony Gwynn or like Warren Moon, like Evander Holyfield, that regardless of the thousands of people who wanted to talk to them, when they stopped, you were the only person in their world. Another great one, another Ray, by the way, Ray Lewis. We used to do this extraordinary charitable event. Every bowling lane in Las Vegas, it was for the Crescent Moon Foundation. Every bowling lane would have 4 celebrities. On each lane, there'd be one superstar: Jerry Rice, Dr. J, Ray Lewis. It was incredible. I can't even remember everyone, Tony Gonzalez, and the list, but there's 32 lanes with the biggest stars in the world, Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, it was ridiculous. But the most amazing thing is Ray Lewis, I think, really hit home on this, is that Ray Lewis, kids came up and they were bowling, and these kids came up and he stopped everything. And they were like in heavy competition and a little bit of gambling, all on the bowling. And he stopped to talk to these little kids. And someone then kind of interrupted as if there was something more important in the bowling, to sign their ball or whatever. And he stood up. He was on one knee talking to the kids. He stood up and he literally put his arms out and said, "Excuse me." He said, "I'm talking to the most important people here." And he went back down. I could see on the kid's face that he has impacted those kids for life. He taught them a lesson far more than being the toughest guy on the football field, the MVP of the Super Bowl, the Hall of Famer that he is. That one moment is what molded their character. Be who you think that they don't think you're going to be. And what a great lesson. I remember Tony Gwynn, Austin Eckler's this way, kid I do a little bit of coaching with in business, but they take the time. First one, last one to leave. Any fan just sits there when it's humanly possible. You need to be present. It means more than anything. If you're going to give something to someone, whether it's on the street or a charity, make sure you acknowledge them, that you give them your presence, even more than the gifts that you may give them as well. Look them in the eye. Let them know they're the most important person in your life at this time. That's what I try to do, the best that I can do. But I have been taught by the greatest athletes, celebrities, entertainers, the good ones. And I've also been taught by the bad ones when I see the impact that it has on those people. Thank you very much, by the way, for coming up and for giving me your presence and your questions. I appreciate everyone. What a great day. I got to teach my favorite topic, the 5 daily practices, the cornerstone to your happiness, your success, helping me empower others to be happy. My mission in life is to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. My goal, my mission is to help people learn how to create abundance. I want you to make a lot of money. I want you to help a lot of people, and I want you to have a lot of fun. These formulatic, pragmatic ways, whether it be the open-ended question guide or the 5 daily practices or the 3 no rule or the 25 no rule, whatever it may be that we try our best to teach and to empower, we are on one mission together to change the collective consciousness of the world to be abundant, to know that there's more than enough of everything, of everyone, that there's an omniscient, all-powerful, all-knowing source that loves you more than your mom loves you. You are not being punished. You're always being protected and promoted. I love being here every week, whether I'm in France, Dubai, or in California, New York, or Kansas City. Wherever I am, this is the most important place to be. Breakfast of Champions, 7 a.m. Pacific time, every Friday. Been doing this for over 22 years, probably older than Jake is, but I've been doing it that long for good reason. Jakey Bakey, I appreciate you so much. Enjoy, everyone. Jake, close out the room.
Thank you, David. While you're in Europe, just one last question. What's your favorite city in Europe? You want to cap it all off here?
Now, this is one of them. We're going to be going to Florence as well and Amsterdam. Those are 2 other ones that I thoroughly enjoy, but I'm not a places person. I want to tell everyone this. I've been all over the world and blessed to have gone and learned all over the world. But Jake, you've traveled all over the world, including to Riyadh with me. I'm not a places person. I'm a people person. So there's no place I'd rather be than with these people here in the Breakfast of Champions, my community of sponsors and power sponsors. I'm a people person, not a places person. But sometimes the food makes a place really nice for me as well. Thanks a lot, Jake.
Perfect. You heard it here first. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We appreciate you. These trainings here. We'll be back on. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Take care. Remember, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you.